Hello everyone, welcome back for another Anything for Life video, and today we'll be covering the 2026 modding guide on how to mod your Kobo Libra color. So we'll be covering a bunch of applications that you will be using on your Kobo Libra color to get the most out of your Kobo Libra color. So I'll be mentioning a few of them here, but as a side note, all of the applications I'm talking or listening about here I have a guide on every single one of them. And most of them have two tutorials, one for Windows and one for Mac. And another side note is thanks for this person here for suggesting this video idea. So yes, I will thank you so much for this idea. And yes, so this will be a very simple guide on how everything works and what you need for what you want, if that makes sense. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, starting off with a very hard hitter, we have our first application called Calibre. So why would you want Calibre is the big question, because we probably don't know what it is. So very simply, Calibre is a way to sideload your books very simply. The normal way to sideload books to your Kobo is very simple, and it is just connect your Kobo into a computer, and inside there you just drag and drop the files that you want to, or books that you want to read, and as long as it's one of the compatible formats that the Kobo Libra color can read, it will read it and will put it into its NickelOS. So once that's done, you can just read whatever you want to read. But there is a few downsides to this, and because of the wide variety of different file types, it kind of poses an error where a bunch of the features, I would say, that the Kobo Libra color has, that the native books that you might have bought from like the Kobo store, the specific features from that Kobo store will not be available on regular side-loaded books. For example, one of the key features that are there is to sort books by authors, and side-loaded books will just refuse to do this. And another big thing is sorting them by categories is also something that you could not do earlier, or sorting them into book series is also not possible. And finally, another thing is that EPUBs did not have the power, I guess, of KPUBs, where KPUBs will allow you to see how much more time you have to read by using a algorithm that basically predicts on your current reading speed on how much more minutes you have to finish the book. So that is not there for regular EPUBs. But the way you can fix all of these issues is by getting Calibre. And Calibre will basically, what it will do is it will basically synchronize them all together by changing the metadata for each of those individual books. So you go into Calibre and you have your library of books that you have stored on your Kobo. You connect it up, obviously, the Kobo. And then in Calibre, you can change the metadata for the cover photos. You can also change what series there are, and you can also synchronize different series and also different authors. So you can sort between them. And then once you click the button and it'll be ejected, then finally it'll all connect up and sync, and the reading progress will work, and the collections will work, and the series will work perfectly fine. So if you want to download Calibre, I have a tutorial on this, and check it out in the description if you'd like to see it, and then we can move on. So this tutorial, I'm pretty sure I only have a Windows version, but if you would like a Mac version, please ask, and I will. Now, something else that you might want to do is, let's say there's a big problem, I would say, is when you're a readaholic, like most of you would be if you would have bought the Kobo. If you're a readaholic, you usually find yourself reading for long periods of time and not really understanding that you have spent that much time. And one of the biggest problems, or the reasons why this happens, Kobo doesn't have a way to show the time while you're reading a book. Like, you have to swipe up and actually check the time, which means you're aware of what you're doing, right? But what if you're not? What if you're the 98% of people who are too lazy to check the time, which means that you end up reading for longer than you really want to? The best way for this to fix this issue is using NickelClock. And one of the big reasons why Kobo hasn't made this an actual feature is because, think about it, an e-reader has to flash every time it changes its state, right? That's how battery gets drained. But that means that every minute it needs to refresh, right? Which you would think would have to like completely flash and like distract you every minute. Which is what Kobo was thinking as well, which is why they didn't put this feature out. But NickelClock fixes that by just gently changing the pixels and allowing it to blur a little bit, that so it doesn't flash every minute. So it's very discreet and you actually don't have to think about it. Except when you want to look at the time. So again, very quality of life thing, but it's such a good quality of life improvement that I want it. And again, this tutorial is also available down below. So look at the playlist or look in the description if you'd like to download NickelClock. And now finally we get to the very heavy hitters, and these are the ones that most will affect the way you use your Kobo Libra color. So we start off with NickelMenu. So the NickelMenu is something that you can visualize as a road. So a series of roads that allows you to bridge all the several applications that you have and will just allow them to work together. So that's just the main thing you need. You need for most of these applications that I'm talking about soon, you need the NickelMenu for any of these to work. So again, I have the NickelMenu tutorial for both Windows and Mac, and you can check it down below. And now we get to the applications and the big heavy applications that use NickelMenu to work. So one of the very big ones in the e-reader community is co-reader. And co-reader is actually available for almost every single type of device out there. And once you look at the UI, it just seems a little bit ugly. Like, it's really useful. And it allows you to do so many things that Kobo would never let you do. Like change covers. It's just kind of crazy how much you can do with it. So what I would say is co-reader is where functionality is the key. And in the Kobo stock OS, it's mainly being pretty. But what if you could make it look better? So again, co-reader is really good, by the way. So if you'd like to install co-reader, I have a guide for that as well. So check that down below. Windows and Mac, by the way. And yeah, so what if you wanted to look more pretty? Because I don't really like the way that co-reader looks. And you probably don't either. But there is a better way. There's a better way to make co-reader look good. And that is Simple UI. So Simple UI is a very simple plugin that basically is a co-reader plugin. So I'll be talking about two right now. One of this is Simple UI. And Simple UI is a co-reader plugin, which means it needs co-reader to function. And because it changes the appearance of co-reader. So it just makes it look better, and it just makes it look more pristine. And I really love the way Simple UI looks, and it just, where functionality and looks like intertwined. So that's one of the big ones. Now, what if you wanted a way to read manga? Because there's not really any way currently that that Kobo Libra color supports natively. And there's not really a big easy way to do this. Or is there? Yeah. Before there was the Ultimate Manga Reader, or UMR, and UMR was good, but it only worked for earlier Kobo models, and the Kobo Libra color just straight up did not work with it. And then later on was the Banana Manga Reader, which also worked, but not really. So right now our best option is a co-reader plugin called Rakuyomi. Now Rakuyomi is also pretty good, but again, it's a co-reader plugin, which means that you will need co-reader for it to work. So Rakuyomi is very good, and it will basically just allow you to choose sources and download manga. So again, but manga is very storage intensive, so keep that in mind. But yeah, so that's Rakuyomi. Now, finally is a big one, and this one is very similar to co-reader, but it is Plato. Plato is a PDF reader that is pretty nice. I actually pretty like it. But it doesn't do much that the Kobo already has, and it's mainly just a style thing. And I kind of like it, but to be honest, you can do it without it. And if you want to download Rakuyomi, Simple UI, or any of the ones that I mentioned again, there's a guide for that. There's a tutorial that I have for that, and you can check it down below. Now, those are basically all the main modding things that you can do with your Kobo Libra color. There are a bunch of other mods out there, a bunch of other ways to make your Kobo more look better, just have more functionality and just more. But those are the main ones that I think that most people would want or need, and those are the ones that I mainly have a tutorial for. So if you do have something else in the modding community or something else to make the Kobo Libra color good, again, go ahead, and if you want to really learn about that and also how to make it work on your Kobo Libra color, hit me up, go down below, make a comment, and as you've seen here, I really take those comments to heart. So, without further ado, thank you all for listening to this video, and have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all